Want to welcome to the program right now, continuing our MMA week, Mr. Tim Kennedy is with us. How are you, Tim?
I am doing well.
Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Not a problem.
So, we've been talking a lot this week about the convergence of MMA and the sporting lifestyle. I know you grew up in California. Did you grow up hunting and shooting at all?
Absolutely. I was from Central California, which is pretty rural. My parents have like 500 acres in Monterey County. And so, I can remember nearly almost every weekend, whether it would be skeet shooting or, going for fowl or shooting deer on the property or trying to get rid of some coyotes that are messing with the cattle. It was a regular occurrence. My dad was a police officer, so I was raised around guns. I've always been around them and been hunting for as long as I can remember.
Did that factor into your decision to enter into the armed forces?
A little. It's going into special forces, Green Berets and Rangers. It almost just seemed natural from what I'd done my whole entire life. Being an athlete in college and being a criminal justice major during my undergraduate stuff, wrestling. And then shooting my whole entire life. It just seemed like the next thing to do. Just what everyone else would have done hadn't been brought up the same way.
When you enlisted, did you know, Tim, that you wanted to go special forces?
I enlisted as an 18 X-ray, which was a special forces recruit.
Okay, so you knew going in that you were going to special forces.
Yeah, if I didn't pass selection, I would have been an infantryman. Which is awesome. But I knew after 9/11, I was one of those guys that was standing in the recruiting line, and there was like 2,000 other dudes just like me. And when I walked into the recruiting office, I was like, "Hey, man, whatever I can do to get on a plane to get over to wherever these assholes came from." And so special forces was the best route to get there.
And now you began fighting while you were active duty, right?
I'd actually had 5 pro fights before I went active. Before I enlisted, I was 4-1 as a pro, and I just won a couple extreme cage fighting championship middleweight title, and I just wanted to do something more important. At the time it was kind of self-serving fighting.
Tim Kennedy is with us once more. Tim, thanks for sticking around through the break, sir.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about the hunting that you do, because you are no longer in California, right? You're now down in the much friendlier state to the Second Amendment of Texas.
Absolutely. Yep. I am in Austin, Texas. Very gun friendly. Our Governor Perry is all about he went and courted a whole bunch of different gun manufacturers. Like, hey, having trouble building guns here in Colorado, Connecticut. Why don't you come to Texas? And a lot of them are. So I love it here.
I was going to say, how many pigs have you killed since you've moved to Texas, Tim?
I have no idea. It's we can shoot them year round. They're a plague here. Like you can't. Tomorrow, as a matter of fact, I'm doing a shooting competition with the Special Forces Association, and then tomorrow night we're cooking up a whole bunch of pigs from a hunt a few weeks ago. So it is. You can shoot them with a machine gun from a helicopter, and you could still not get enough of them.
I'm amazed, and I understand that anti-hunting activists will say, "Oh, every helicopter! Oh my gosh!" 750,000 feral hogs were killed in the state of Texas in 2011. That was like 29% of the population. But as I understand it, the wildlife biologists in Texas say that in order to keep the population in check, you'd have to get rid of 66% of the hog population. So even with all of the hunting, even with the 250,000 hogs put down, that didn't even make a dent in the numbers. So you go out there, you keep shooting every chance you get.
Absolutely, yeah. It's compounding every year. Like you said, we had to triple what we shot this year, and we would maybe slow the growth.
Right.
It's crazy.
So for those who have never had feral hog, Tim, how does it taste compared to, let's say, the pork chop you're going to get in your grocery store?
A lot less fat. The feral hog is a lot leaner, a lot gamier, and a lot of you actually have to take a lot of time cooking a feral hog. You have to slow cook it, because it doesn't have all the flavoring, i.e. fat, that is in a typical hog that you get, or the pork that you get from the grocery store. So you got to do a little bit more flavoring and cook it a little lower heat for a longer period of time to make it not so rough and a little bit more tender.
Sounds like some feral hog barbecue would be fantastic.
That's the way to do it. Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna shoot for about 10 hours, and then that whole entire time the hog's gonna be over the fire, and then tomorrow night we'll sit down and have some feral hog.
That is fantastic. That's a great way to spend a Saturday, man. Do you get to do a lot of shooting with the Special Forces Association?
No, maybe a few times a year. I get to shoot nearly every weekend. This weekend it's the Special Forces Association. Next Saturday I'm doing the Texas Governor's 20. It's kind of like the President's 100, but Texas has its own, and it's the Governor's 20. And then as soon as I get done with the Governor's 20, I'm driving a little bit further east and making it to Houston to do the last day and a half of the NRA convention here in Houston.
Oh, that is awesome. All right, well, listen, I hope that you'll be able to stop by our on-scene studio there, because we'd love to see you in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Tim, before I let you go, man, you got your next fight is coming up in July, is that right?
That's correct. July 6th, UFC 162, pay-per-view. It'll be in MGM Grand in Las Vegas, fighting one of the famous Gracies, Roger Gracie, and he and I are probably going to have fight of the night. It's going to be a good fight.
Well, listen,
He's a very talented athlete.
I'm looking forward to seeing it, and looking forward to seeing you in Houston next week, man. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.